Hatha yoga, which we explored in the previous video. Vinyasa yoga is known for its fluid, almost dance-like movements. Instead of holding a pose for many breaths, the focus shifts to smoothly transitioning between poses, often at the speed of 1 breath per movement. This can make the practice feel more intense and more heating, perfect for these autumn and winter evenings. And it also means it's an extremely popular form of yoga in the West. No 2 Vinyasa classes are the same, so if you hate routine, really enjoy challenging yourself physically, Vinyasa yoga may just be your soulmate style of yoga. So let's try a 30-minute taster to see what you think. And we are going to get started in an easy and comfortable seated position, and this can mean different things for everyone. For me, I like to sit cross-legged. And if you're here with me, we are rooting through those sitting bones, feeling that stable, solid ground, the security of the earth beneath us as we root up to rise through the crown of the head, reaching it towards the sky. Imagine someone's pulling you up both by those ears. Shoulders are back and down. You might want to roll them out a few times to make sure they're fully relaxed. Eyes gently closed here. Hands resting gently in the lap, wherever is comfortable for you. Chin is parallel to the ground, neck nice and long. Bring your attention to that back of the neck, making sure it's nice and long, not wrinkled and not dropped. Just taking some easy breaths here, nice natural breaths for you. Taking a moment to land and settle in this space. And just notice what's going on with you today. How are you feeling? How are you feeling physically? How are you feeling mentally? How are you feeling energetically? Just ask yourself these sorts of questions and just be very kind to yourself with your answers. Imagine you were asking somebody that you really cared for. What response would you want to hear? No judgment, just truth for you. And maybe just start to add some intention to that breath. So increasing the length of the inhalations and lengthening the exhalations. And you might want to start counting your breath so that you're inhaling for your count of 4 and you're exhaling for your count of 5. You then inhale for your count of 5 and you exhale for your count of 6. And you continue doing that, increasing the length of each breath. The exhalation is 1 count longer than the inhalation until you reach your limit, and you stick with it just for a few more rounds. And just remember that intentional breath. That's what we're looking for in a Vinyasa class. Movement with breath, and the breath is the most important thing. If you ever lose your breath, you're holding your breath, or your breath feels like it's catching, just come to rest in a child's pose. You can always catch us up, or you can rest in child pose for the rest of the practice. Still very much yoga if you spend the whole practice there breathing. The breath is that vital energy, that vital life force that keeps us moving, keeps us alive, keeps us healthy. And then when you're ready, just start to flutter open the eyes, adjusting to the light and the space around you again. We're going to come into an all fours position, so you can either roll over the shins if you're in a cross leg position, or just find a way that's comfortable and easy for you to get there. Make sure those hands are underneath the wrists, the knees are underneath the hips, and just take a moment here to find your alignment. So spreading through those fingers, index fingers are facing forward, push into the hands so you're not dropping into the shoulders. We want a neutral spine here, so don't curl through the tailbone, arching it back or tucking it under. Just find that point which feels neutral and natural to you and try and send it towards the back of the mat without actually moving. Look between the fingers, keep that neck nice and long, bring your awareness to the back of the neck again, making sure it's not creased in any way. And try and breathe into all four corners of the rectangular shape of your torso. So imagining the inhalation spreads out to all four corners. And taking a moment here. Moving through our cat-cow flow, we're going to inhale, drop the belly, lift the heart and the chest forward and up, squeeze those elbows in, arch through the tailbone, look slightly up, exhale, draw the navel to the spine, tuck the tailbone, round through the back, drop the head. We're going to do 4 more in our own breath, our own time, but also you can start to find what feels good for you. You might want to take a bit more movement, dropping the hips towards the heels. You might take a bend in the elbows as you come up on your inhalation. Just find some fluidity, find something dance-like, find something that feels good. One more breath. And then just come back to that neutral place, so checking that alignment again, using those cues I went through earlier. We're going to shift the weight slightly over to the left and just take that right arm up in front of us, energizing through those fingertips. See how you feel here. If it's available to you, you can start to test your balance slightly by taking that left leg towards the back of the mat, tucking the toes. Again, see how you feel. If this is enough for you, stay here. Keep that navel into the spine, drawing in the core. If it's there, you can start to lift through that back leg, either pointing the toes or flexing the foot. Try and keep the hips square so you're not tilting out. Finding your balance here, breathing in. Keep that navel drawing in, navel engaged. And then on your next inhalation, we're going to take that knee to that elbow, rounding through that spine. Imagine that cat back. Inhale all the way out, and you might want to start to take a little lift and back bend here. Exhale, knee to elbow. One more, inhaling to lengthen, exhaling to round. Drop that knee down, drop that hand down. Let's take a cat-cow just to wash it out. Inhaling, dropping the belly, lifting through the heart, tailbone back. Exhale, navel to spine, round through the back. Tucking the tailbone under, push the ground away with those hands. Inhale, back to neutral. Exhale to stay. Other side. So shift the weight slightly over to the right. Inhaling that left arm up this time. And then see how you feel. If it's there for you, you can start to take the right leg back, tucking the toes. Again, see how your balance is feeling. Keep that navel drawing in, core engaged, before you start to lift that right leg up, toes pointed or flexed. Breathing here. And then exhale, knee to elbow, rounding through that spine. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, knee to nose. Knee to elbow, excuse me. One more, inhale, maybe get a little lift, a little back bend. Exhale, round through that spine. Drop the knee, come back to your all fours. We're going to meet in a downward facing dog. So in, maybe take your hands slightly further forward. Inhaling, lifting the hips up and back. And let's just spend a little time here getting our alignment correctly before we move on. So spreading through the fingertips, you want to push through all 10 fingertips, all 10 knuckles. Make sure those index fingers facing directly towards the top of the mat.
Weight is back towards the heels. Keep bending those knees for now. Sitting bones are up and back. Rotate the biceps away from the ears. And let's just take some movement here. Pedaling our dog out. Stretching through those calves. Slow, mindful movements, moving with the breath. And then let's just find stillness for your 3 breaths. Don't wait for me. Remember to keep those ribs tucked in, not flaring out through them. Navel into the spine, core engaged. 1 more breath. On your next inhalation, we're going to come up to the balls of our feet and we're going to ripple through the spine to our high plank. As soon as we get there, we're exhaling, bending the knees so they nearly touch the mat. Rippling back up into our downward facing dog. 2 more. Inhaling, rippling like a wave, riding that wave. Exhale, knees drop. Don't touch the mat, just near the mat. 1 more. Inhaling, rippling forward. Keep that core in. Exhale, knees bend. Come back into our downward facing dog. Let's take 3 more breaths here. Your next inhalation, we're rippling forward to our high plank again. And then we're going to drop the knees and come through our half chaturanga. So untuck the toes here. We're bending the elbows into the chest. So don't let them flare out. With they're going in, we're going to lower ourselves all the way down in 1 long line, all the way down to the mat. Coming into our cobra variation, we're going to bring our fingertips just off the mat. Inhale, scoop that head, that neck, those shoulders off the mat, the upper set of ribs. Breathing here, don't look too far up. Again, we want a nice long neck here, nice back bend to begin with. Exhale, let's roll all the way back down. We're going to move with the breath here. Inhaling to rise, keep the shoulders back and down, away from those ears. Exhale, melting yourself down. 1 more. Inhale up. Push into the pelvis. Push into the tops of the feet. Exhale all the way down. Bring your hands next to your chest here. And up to you. If you have a chaturanga in your practice, you can push straight up into your high plank. If you are a beginner or injured or pregnant, just push yourself up into your tabletop. And we're all going to meet in downward facing dog. Just a couple of breaths here to reset and relax. On your next inhalation, we're going to sweep that right leg to the sky. Try and keep the weight in both hands so that your shoulders are nice and square. Don't pop out to the side just yet. Keep that hip square, that right hip drawing down, but the leg nice and high. And then when you're ready, you can start to open that knee and drape that right foot behind the body. Nice hip opener here. Inhale. Back to the top, sweep it nice and high. Exhale, we're bringing our knee to our nose here. Coming forward onto the hands, rounding through the spine. Inhale, right leg goes back. Exhale, open up through that hip, foot drops. Inhale, right leg squeeze high. Exhale, knee to nose. 1 more. Inhaling up. Exhale, knee opens. Inhale back up. Exhale, knee to nose, and this time we're going to plant the foot between the hands. Remember, you can always use a hand to get it there if you need to. Drop that back knee, untuck the toes. We're going to come into our low lunge. So inhale, the hands in front of you and up. Keeping the glutes switched on, tucking the tailbone slightly, dropping the hips towards that front heel. Finding your balance, you can take your foot slightly wider if you need a bit more balance. Arms are nice and high. On your next inhalation, we're going to cactus through the arms and see if we can start to lift that chest and that heart space a bit further towards the ceiling. Neck remains nice and long, tailbone tucked, glutes switched on. And then exhale with sweeping our hands down to meet the front foot, framing that front foot. Tuck the toes, lift the back knee, and then plant that back foot parallel to the short edge of the back of the mat. Keep a bend in that knee. We're going to walk our fingertips towards the left corner of the mat. We're not here for long because it's quite intense on the legs. Just trying to open out through the back of that hip. Maybe even through the left side body. Head nice and heavy here. And then in your own time, just walk your fingertips back round to frame that front foot. Pick up the heel of that back foot, coming into our runner's lunge. Press into the hands, and then either up to you, we're stepping back to our plank position, moving through our chaturanga and upward dog, or we're dropping our knees, coming through our half chaturanga into our cobra variation. And then either way, we're all going to meet in a downward facing dog. 3 breaths here. Take a child's pose when you need it. If it's here, take it now. Drop those knees. And remembering those alignment cues from before. Sitting bones up and back, weight towards the heels, shoulders away from the ears. Now we're going to take that to the other side. So inhale, the left leg up, holding here, making sure your alignment's correct, shoulders are square, hips are square, left hip is pointing down. Exhale, open out through the hip, dropping that foot. Breathing into that hip. Inhale it back towards the ceiling. And then exhale, knee to nose, rounding through the spine. Come forward onto the wrists. Inhale, the left leg sweeps high. Exhale, open out through that hip. Inhale, left leg sweeps high again. Exhale, knee to nose, rounding through that spine. Inhaling, left leg sweeps high. One more. Exhale. Hip opens, foot drops. Inhale, left leg sweeps high again. Exhale, knee to nose, and we're planting that left hand here. Left foot between the hands, excuse me. Drop the back knee, untuck the toes. Sweep the arms in front of you and up. Going into our low lunge, sinking through those hips as close as we can to that front heel, grounding through that front heel. Tailbone tucked, bum switched on, glutes engaged, arms are nice and energized. And then your next inhalation, we're capsuling through those arms, trying to get the heart space open, the chest open, ready to receive. Can you sink the hips any lower? Exhale, the hands come back down to frame that front foot, tucking the back toes, lifting the back knee, planting that foot down so it's parallel to the back short edge of the mat, and walking those hands towards the right corner this time. Keep sinking into that front hip. Just enjoy that stretch. Send the breath into that stretch. And then moving the hands back to frame that left foot. We're stepping back into our plank position, dropping the knees or coming for your full chaturanga. And this is our vinyasa for the practice. Upward facing dog or cobra, pushing back into our downward facing dog. 3 breaths here. Trying to find that alignment, improving with every downward dog we take. We take a lot of these. One more breath. And then inhale. We're coming up to the balls of the feet here, bending in through the knees. We're just going to walk our feet nice and slowly towards the hands. Coming into Uttanasana, forward fold. Feet are about hip width apart, head and neck are nice and heavy. Arms are nice and heavy, just hanging here. On your next inhalation, you're going to slide the hands to the shins, leaning forward slightly. Exhale, fold back over the legs, let everything go. 2 more, just like that, own breath, own time. Inhale, longest, flattest possible spine. Exhale, melt down, let everything go. 1 more, inhale. Keep those ribs tucked in, slight squeeze between the shoulder blades. Can you find any more length, any more space before you exhale and let everything go? On our next inhalation, we're coming up to standing, rolling through the spine, tucking the tailbone under, head and neck, the last things to come up, and then inhaling the arms to the sky. Exhale, Savajisi, arms down by the side. We're going to move through 1 round of our sun salutations here, Surya Namaskar A. Inhaling, we're rooting through those feet to rise up, arms above the head. Exhale, we're diving forward. Inhale, hands to shins, flat back, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the fingertips or palms, we're stepping back into our plank position. Again, your choice here, you can move through your full chaturanga. Inhaling to your up dog. Exhaling, downward dog. We're all going to meet in downward dog, so just make your way there through your own vinyasa. Breathing here. Maybe giving the head a shake, a nod, yes or no. And then we're going to take another flow. We're going to add a little bit of fire to the flow we just did. So inhale that right leg up. Exhale, open out through the hip again, dropping that foot down. Inhale that right leg up. Exhale, we're taking the knee to the nose. And we are planting that foot straight between the hands here. Drop the back knee, untuck the toes. Inhale the arms up. Exhale to stay. Inhale, open up through that chest, cactusing the arms. Exhale, hands come all the way down to the front foot. Inhale, pick up the back knee. Plant that back foot down and bring the right forearm to that bent right knee. Left arm squeeze in front of you and up, coming into a side angle pose. Keep the tailbone tucked under, don't stick the bum out. Keep a deep bend in that front leg. Nice straight line between your fingertips and that pinky toe edge of the back foot. Keep your weight into that pinky toe edge as well. Breathing here, side angle. And we're going to flow through this. So inhale yourself up to a reverse warrior. Back hand drops the back leg. Front arm up and over. Exhale, come back into your side angle. 2 more, just like that. Inhaling up. Exhaling down. Inhaling up. And exhaling. We're coming all the way down here. Now once again, we're stepping back to our plank position. And up to you. You can stay here and just have a play with your plank. Or you can start to come into your side plank here. Coming onto the blade edge, the pinky toe edge of that right foot. Making sure that that wrist is underneath that shoulder on the right side. Raising that left arm up. If you need a modification, you can always drop that bottom knee. Banana through the hips. 1 more breath. And then exhale, we'll take it back to our plank position. Drop the knees if you need to. Coming through our half chaturanga. Inhaling up to our cobra variation. And then exhale, hips up and back. Downward facing dog. Breathing here. Take the child's pose if you need it. Now is the time. We've got 1 more side to go. So let's inhale that left leg up. Exhale, open that hip, drop that foot. Inhale the left leg back to the sky. Exhale, knee to nose before planting it between the hands. Drop the back knee, untuck those back toes. Inhale, sweep the arms up to the sky. Exhale to stay, sink those hips. Inhale, let's cactus the arms, lifting through that heart space, that chest. Can you sink your hips any lower? Exhale, fingertips come all the way down. Tuck the back toes, lift the knee, plant the back foot so it's parallel to that short back edge of the mat. Left arm to left knee. Inhale, the right arm sweeps up and over. Breathing into our side angle. And you can see the back alignment from here. So tailbone is tucked, bum is switched on. Imagine there's that your body is between two panes of glass. And let's start to move with the breath here. Inhaling through to our reverse warrior. Exhaling back down to our side angle. 2 more. Inhaling. And exhaling. Inhaling. And exhaling. We're coming all the way down. Turning on those back toes. Stepping back to our plank. And then you can come to your side plank on the other side. So pinky toe edge of the left foot, stacking the feet if you can. Making sure that shoulder's underneath the wrist before taking that right arm up. Remember, you can always drop that bottom if you need to. Bananaing through the hips. And then exhale, take the fingertips down. Coming through your version of a vinyasa. So I'm swapping each time I do it so you can see both in turn. Inhaling up. Exhaling, hips up and back. Down facing dog. Just 2 breaths here. And then look forward. We're going to walk those feet towards the hands again. But as they start to reach the hands, we're going to take them about mat width apart. Toes out, heels in. So you may want your toes slightly off the mat while the heels remain on. And we're going to sink that bum down, coming into our Vinyasa squat. So you can stay up here if that's more comfortable for you, or you can come all the way down and find a place to settle. You can keep moving if that feels good. You can use those elbows to keep pushing your knees out. We want the full circumference of the foot on the floor if we can, keeping the glutes turned on to force the hips even further out. The knees further out, I mean. Spine nice and long, tailbone is tucked, chest is open, collarbones are wide. 1 more breath. And then on the exhalation, we're going to bring our hands down behind us and sit our bums down. Stretch those legs out in front of you just for a moment, give them a shake if you need to. And then we're going to bend through the right knee and place the sole of the right foot on the inner left thigh. Inhaling the arms up. Exhaling, we're folding over that left leg, trying to get our chest close to the knee. So it's less about rounding through the spine, it's more about creating length through that back body. You can use blocks here, you can keep your fingertips on the ground, or you can grab hold of that foot if it's available to you. Enjoying that really juicy hamstring stretch here. Your next inhalation, start to roll up through the spine. Take that right arm and fingertips behind you, trying to plant the palm on the ground. Sorry, I've got my back to you. Inhaling, we're sweeping that left arm in front of us and over us. So maybe just watch for once. We're coming onto that shin, on the right shin. Inhaling up, and we're going to flow through it. Exhaling, sitting our bums back down. Hands towards the foot. 2 more, just like that. Move with your breath. Find what feels good and stick with it. This is a wild fling variation. Hands towards the foot on the exhale. 1 more. Squeeze the bum at the top. Exhale all the way down. And we're just going to roll up through the spine. Take the legs out in front of us. Give them a shake. Maybe just take a moment here, see if there's any difference in the legs there before we take it to the other side. Bending through that left knee. Left sole of the foot to the right inner thigh. Inhaling the arms up to create length first of all, then exhaling, hinging at the hips. Reaching towards that right foot. And don't be surprised if there are differences in size. I'm a lot tighter on my right side, so I can't get as low here. next inhalation, we're rolling up. We're taking those left fingertips behind us this time. I can see you now. Inhale, sweep that right arm up and over, lifting the hips, squeezing the bum. Exhale, sitting back down. Fingertips towards the toes. 2 more. Inhaling. And exhaling. 1 more. Inhaling. And exhaling. Beautiful. And then just lift yourself back up. Take the legs out straight in front of you. Give them a shake if you need to. And we're going to come into our easy boat pose. So bring the soles of the feet to the ground, knees are facing up. Bring the arms out in front of you and start to lengthen through that spine and open through the chest, leaning back slightly. Just see how far you can lean back without losing the integrity of the spine. Keeping that core engaged, keeping the feet flat on the floor. Just holding for 3, 2, 1 before relaxing and coming all the way down. Knees into the chest. Give yourself a good squeeze, a good hug. And then slowly in your own time, we're just going to drop the knees over to the right. You can rest your right hand on your knees, or you can open the arms out. You can have them in cactus shape. Once again, just find what feels good as we start to slow down. Supine twist. Bring your legs back through centre. Give yourself a squeeze in the middle. Then exhale, we're taking them all the way to the other side. Opening up through that other arm and finding what feels good. Inhaling back through centre. Give yourself a squeeze. And then exhaling, dropping the legs to the mat. Coming into our corpse pose, Savasana. Legs are heavy, nice and relaxed. Arms away from the body. Palms are facing up. Eyes are gently closed. Breathing here. Natural breaths for you. Starting to take your attention inward. And now ordinarily we'd spend a lot longer in Savasana, and I encourage you, if you're able to spend, up to 15 minutes here, but given this is just a taster, we're going to bring ourselves to a close. So start to bring some gentle movement into the body, wiggling the fingers, wiggling the toes. Roll over to your side, taking a moment in a sort of fetal position, or a side corpse pose as it's called. Feeling that solid, stable, secure ground beneath us again. And then just start to push yourself up to meet me in an easy, comfortable seated position. Once again, we finish as we started. Taking some breath here. Bring your hands in prayer position at heart center. From my heart to yours, Namaste.